Let's have fun. That's the theory.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what this is all about, Mike.
Gotta have fun.
So let me silence my phone too before we get going here. All right. So this is a special pre-recorded edition here of the No Sunday Scaries Club. And for those who are joining us for the first time and listening to this, just know that we recognize that for some people on Sunday nights, as the sun starts to set, all different types of emotions start to bubble up. You know, the realization of the work week ahead, and that could be a positive realization of what's about to happen. It could maybe be some fear and anxiety. So we felt strongly that we wanted to create a positive environment on a Sunday night by bringing inspirational, loving, fun-loving people together to interview them, share their stories, so we can insert some inspiration on a Sunday night instead of just melting into the couch and letting Netflix lull us slowly to bed before our work week begins. So thank you for joining us. And by the way, if this is your first time, just so you know, you can go to nosundayscaries.club and you can sign up, and you'll actually be invited to our live recordings every Sunday night. So you get a chance to ask questions in real time with the guests. So don't be shy, go to the website and sign up and check it out. You can also find links to our YouTube page where you can watch all of the recordings, so you can actually see the body language and see the people that we're interviewing as well, if podcast listening isn't your thing. So with that, Mike, it's good to see you again. We've got two mics on the call there. We have Mike McNeil, Mike McCann. Both of you, welcome. It's good to see you both.
The Mikey mix. The Mikey mix.
Mix, the dancing mix.
This is a really special. We're very grateful, Mike McCann, to have you on today. I'm very fortunate. I'm one of the few people on this planet that can call, in addition to calling Mike an idol and someone I look up to, a partner. Mike's actually a business partner of mine, and I'm lucky I fell into that relationship. I didn't actually earn it. I fell into it, and I've gotten the chance to just sit in a room and be able to observe him in real time, and thrilled to be able to share him with you today. Mike happens to work in real estate, but what's I think even more important to note is he's literally one of the top entrepreneurs in Philadelphia, and has been for more than 3 decades. And we're going to unpack a little bit about how he continues to just pull away from the competition, literally year after year, how he protects his energy, how he has it in the first place. He sold over 10,000 homes in his career. But what I think is actually more important than that, and Mike McNeil, you know this as well as I do, and every real estate professional in Philadelphia knows this, if you text or call Mike today, you are going to get a response from Mike McCann today. So that to me boils down to reputation, which is why it's so exciting. Mike's numbers are fantastic, no question. But the reason I'm thrilled to call him a partner and actually have him, even the 45 minutes with him that we do today, is just because of to share the time with someone whose reputation is as strong. So Mike, thanks for taking your time out of the middle of the day to be with us now. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it. I respect what you guys are doing and growing. And listen, to me, the key to success is contribution and helping other people grow and watching other people grow. Yeah. So I'm glad if I help one person with one line or one word or one inspiration, then this will have been worth it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you.
Yeah, Mike, you are the definition of the saying that your reputation precedes you. And I have the fortunate ability to watch you walk through the office that we share together in Philadelphia. And when you walk through that office, the energy is just vibrating off of you, right? There is a shine that comes into the room when you pass through the big open common area we have in the office. And I'd love to understand more about, the background of where that comes from, because that's not just, it's not something you're born with. I don't believe that. I think you have to work for that. And I want to just open with a question that maybe just turns things a little bit, but 2021, you had a physical goal of doing push-ups every day. So could you speak to, to the point of energy, could you speak to where that came from, why you did it, and maybe give us a little bit of background about your your approach to physical fitness and mental health?
Well, it's so funny because today I just posted on Instagram and Facebook. I was eating this beautiful lunch that my wife made for me. Now she makes me a salad with avocados and black beans and tomatoes. And I'm like, I thank her every day. My wife has been packing me a great lunch for about 32 years now. And initially, being an entrepreneur and working all the time, I would be out working and it'd be 3 o'clock and I'd be like, oh, I didn't eat. And I'd go eat a cheesesteak or something, right? So my wife saw that and she started packing me a lunch. So the most of my staff are women, the operation team are women. They always said to me, man, I need a wife. So she made the best lunch. So staying healthy is important. It's about physical and it's about diet. And I am not Joe work out all the time and, look in the mirror. But I always, I always did stay healthy, and it's what you eat and, and what you drink, what you eat and what you drink. So very, very important. But during COVID, so I would say probably from 28, 29, when I got in real estate until probably 42, I did not go to the gym. But because I was running, I had the kids, but I played sports with the kids. Anyway, about 42, my belly's starting to pop out. And, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to be your fat American. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I'm sorry. So I'm sorry. I am Paul.
Statistics would back you up there, Mike. So,
yeah.
Okay. So I started to go to the gym a little bit, a trainer, and I didn't even know what a gym looked like. So I got a trainer and I started to go to the gym, and I did it so much. But once I hit my early 50s, I'm like, if you don't, people think you're old at 40 or you're old at 50, but once you push in your 50s, if you don't you can be really old at 50 if you don't take care of yourself, right? So I really started to go to the gym 2 or 3 times. COVID came, and I'm like, okay, go to the gym. So I started I always did my one-handed push-ups to show off. I'm around a lot of young people, right? I'm 62. And I've been doing my one-handed push-ups for 15, 20 years and do this. And I beat them all, right? And when I go on stage, if I win an award, I run up and I do my one-handed push-ups. So during COVID, I said, during this lockdown, I'm going to do 100 push-ups a day. And then about 2 months later, I thought, I'm going to do 250 push-ups a day. So since COVID, I've done 250 push-ups a day. And today I only did 150 so far, but before the day's out, I'll have 250 push-ups done and 100 squats. And what's crazy? Going to the gym 2-3 times a week, it was great, kept me healthy. When I started doing those push-ups, Mike, my actually weight went down more, and my belt line trimmed another inch. Push-ups are the best. So I do 250 push-ups every day. And this is a Mike McCannism, no matter what. So if I do listen, I'll miss it. If I miss a day, that next day I'm doing 500. You know what I mean? But I pretty much don't want to. I really try not to miss it all, but once in a while. So health is very important. I walk fast. I keep active. I've always kept active. That kept me healthy. But it's so much what you eat too. So I had a great salad, and I used to eat. My wife would pack me sandwiches and stuff. Now I eat a salad. Anyway, health is wealth. Without health, you have nothing. And again, you don't have to be a gym rat living in the gym, but you have to take care of yourself. You have to get that heart pumping. It gives you more energy. If it's funny, if I'm on a vacation or I'm not doing too much, but for some reason the weather's really bad or I'm on a vacation and I'm not doing much, my energy goes down. The more that you do, the more energy you have. So yes, very, very important. And it's funny. The only time I'm old is when I look in the mirror. I'm like, wait, who is this bald dude? But other than that, I think I'm your age or younger. Like in my mind,
yeah.
And I'm not giving in. But that energy, I like to be around young people. I like to be around older people. It doesn't matter. But if you have good health and you have good energy, that attracts good energy. You feed off of that energy, Mike. So it's about that energy. And when I walk, and I wasn't always like this, I had lots of confidence issues. In high school, I couldn't even raise my hand in the classroom because I'd be afraid that if I had the wrong answer, people would laugh at me. So, in your teens and in your 20s, you worry about what people think. Well, once you hit your 30s, you start to, that's okay. I don't care what they think. And by your 40s, you're like, I am who I am. If you don't like it, that's tough. But the energy but I do love people, and the energy that you project, there's a couple basic things. And I taught my children this, is when someone's in a room, I walk around in the aisles, I smile, and I put my hand out. If you're in a party and you're looking across the room and somebody's frowning, you don't want to go to that. If you see them smiling, it's a different impression, and good attracts good. So I'm rambling.
No, you said something that was really interesting that I was curious about, which was, has this always been the way that you are, or was there a change in you at some point in your life? And you mentioned it, but you said, I was, not one to raise my hand in school when I was younger, but by the time I was 30, I started caring less about what other people thought. Was there a conscious decision that you made in there? Was there an event, maybe something that changed things for you, or was this something gradual over time that you just got to know yourself better and you were just persevering as you got older?
It's really, really good question, because I wish I could say, I made this decision. I will tell you, because of my family situation, I did learn to work, and I did learn to work hard, and I did always have a lot of energy. If I was around my friends who I knew, I was all energy and fun and great. And if I met somebody and they knew me, I was good at energy and fun. But, I started working when I was 8 years old. So where I grew up in far northeast Philly, the parents would buy I hung out with guys who were people a couple of years older. Parents would buy them like mini bikes, right? I wanted a mini bike. I worked for a mini bike from when I was 8 years. My parents got divorced. And so we didn't have any money, right? So I'm in an environment, I'm in a blue collar, cops, firemen, city workers. They moved out of the lower northeast to the far northeast. But I was early in the divorce era. Like, my parents got divorced like in the late 60s. And so that was embarrassing, humiliating, and there was no money. And so my mom said, Mike, you can have a mini bike, but I can't buy it for you. So I started saving from 8 years old, doing all kinds of odd jobs. Mike McCann found jobs, carrying groceries, selling pretzels, cutting lawns. And when I was 10 years old, I had $105 and I bought a mini bike. I got that mini bike. Nobody rode their mini bike the way I rode mine. Nobody took care of their mini bike. Nobody appreciated their mini bike the way that I did mine. So that was an early experience. And guess what? I was the best mini bike rider. You know why? I just dreamed about that mini bike for 2 years, and I saved, pennies and dimes and quarters. You didn't even get dollars back then. And so that was a really great experience with the work hard, reward. And then that moved on. When I was 11, I became a dishwasher nobody was hiring 11-year-old kids. It was like 16 or 17. I went to the back of these shopping centers and I got this Italian restaurant to hire me. I was a skinny little kid with long hair, and I'm working with 16, 17-year-old crazy dudes. And I'd be working at the dishwasher and as a dishwasher, and they'd be like, slow down. Like, boy, what are you doing? Like, why are you working so hard? Slow down. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking? 4 months later, I'm in the prep room. I'm out of the dishwashing room. Tony Alvino moved me out to the dishwasher. So I saw the rewards, and then he moved me up to, I worked through high school, 33 hours a week through high school. And I bought my car before I was 16. Like, I kind of learned. So I learned. That was a great experience for me, Mike. And it's funny, my kids grew up much better than me, but I gave them those same, you have to earn it. You'll get stuff for your birthday and you'll get stuff for Christmas, but anything else, you have to earn it. And it really, so my kids, and I'm just telling you, because I passed this on, because, we wanted to make sure our kids' lives are better than ours. If you give your kid everything, guess what? At 26, your kid will be home in the basement, not even trying to get a job. It doesn't help your kid. So mine they went to college. They earned their way through college. We told them, they saved for their first semester. And we said, if you get honors, we'll rebate you that. So all my kids made it through college free because they did their part. Mm-hmm. And then right away, within a couple of months, they got out of college and they got out of the house and they got jobs, So to me, purpose in life is way more important than money. Like, if I could give my kids my wealth and they'd be happy for life, I would have given them my wealth, but so anyway, so that's, and now as far as the confidence thing, so I remember I was the president of the Center City Association of Realtors in 1989. And I had to speak at the Rittenhouse in front of 60 people. I would sweat the night before. I was scared. Because I didn't feel like I belonged yet. Okay, so that's why I got in real estate. I said, you know what? Everybody cooperates. I'm going to have the best reputation. I'm going to work the hardest. Today I say work the hardest / smartest because of technology. I'm going to become the most knowledgeable. I'm going to work the hardest, smartest, and I'm going to have the best reputation. That was when I entered the real estate business and I saw people cooperated, that was my fundamental that never changed. So I became the most, everyone else got their license and that was it. I took classes at Temple. I grew within that profession. And by 1989, 2.5 years in the business, I'm in Center City. I didn't live in Society Hill. I had a $40,000 house in South Philly, right? So I didn't feel like I belonged, right, in Center City, but so it took me a while till once I became knowledgeable, then my confidence came. So it was, you don't want to be confident and don't know what you're talking about. So I made sure I overcompensated for I didn't grow up in this society environment, so today, and one more thing, being in sales, if you're in sales, you have to love people. If you don't love people, you should, sales is not for you. And that did come from my mom. My mom taught me how to love everybody. My friends would be like, Mike, let's go to your house and talk to your mom. Back in our day, nobody went to anybody's house. You were kicked out on the street all day, right? But my mom loved people and she taught me how to love people. So loving people, working harder, working smarter, and becoming never. One more thing, I know I'm rambling, but I'm just telling you my story, right?
Your time.
So I'm 8, 9, 10, 11. There's no money in our house. I'm embarrassed. I'm humiliated. I'm working. My mind said to me, I will never live like this. When I grow up, I will never live like this. So I'm doing reports in 6th and 7th grade that I'm going to be a millionaire. And my friends would laugh. I'd send you have to do these book reports, me being a millionaire. The teachers would be like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know, but that's what I'm going to be. I'm not going to so my mindset always was that I'm not going to be satisfied with where I am in life today. Now, I didn't end up going to college. I remember I'm working, I'm 14. I'm saying to my mom, Mom, the guy wants me to maybe own the restaurant at some point because I'm the hardest worker he's ever seen. I said, I don't know if I want to work the restaurant business because I don't want to work, because I was working all nights Friday, all night Saturday, all night Sunday. And the people that are 40, they're divorced. And if I ever get married, I'm going to stay married because my parents were divorced. So I said, if I get married, I'm never getting divorced, So there were things that I grew up with in my childhood. But I remember saying to my mom, and I said, I wish I could find a job where the harder you worked, the more money you could make. Now, we're blue collar. We don't know about entrepreneurialism. They weren't teaching that in school. None of the people in my area were entrepreneurs. Again, it was good, hardworking, cops, firemen, city workers, politicians. I never found entrepreneurial until a year after high school. So I'm going to stop there in case you have other questions. I could go on and on about my story, but I'm going to stop.
Great, Jake. I know you have a question. I just want to make a comment, Jake, real quick.
Yeah.
This was a question I had, Mike, about sales being a skill, but you actually answered it for me. Sales requires love. And I think it's a great message for anyone in the audience who is starting a business or in the sales industry already. You're an entrepreneur. Don't forget, for all of the things that you can get better at with your sales skills, negotiating and whatnot, the love that you're able to show for other people and the care and the empathy that you're able to show for other people and make them feel that is what is most important and what will return to you to more than anything that you could ever imagine. So I'm so glad you said that, Mike, and I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. What stands out to me is, and we talk about this a lot, where a lot of leaders say, well, I need to figure out how to inspire my team. I don't think that's a thing. I don't think you can inspire someone else. The reason why, and I've witnessed, Mike, people are inspired to work with you, and it's coming through loud and clear for the past 25 minutes, is you are clear on what you want. You have clarity. You go after it 150 miles an hour. That is inspiring to watch it. Therefore, being in your wake, I am now being pulled along. So I think the hypothesis behind this entire podcast, entire meeting, is that the reason why I believe some folks suffer from the Sunday scaries, or whatever you want to call it, is because maybe they're not in alignment with what they actually want. So Mike, you may not have heard some of the earlier episodes, but like, for example, one of our first guests, Jimmy, drew a picture in 6th grade of what he wanted to be when he grew up. He wanted to be a Super Bowl winning football player. Guess what? He has a Super Bowl ring from Belichick in New England, and he played with Tom Brady.
Unbelievable.
You were right. So I'd love your opinion on, because I'm guessing. So you have a team that's very tight, and I'd like you to talk a little bit about how many people are on this now. But people are literally lined up to be within your world. I'm guessing though that if people aren't really clear about what they want, and even before we hit record on this podcast, you said, "Let's have fun." That wasn't just a comment. It was like, that was a directive. Like, we're going to have fun when we do this, right? So do people last with you if they're not clear on what they want? And is that ultimately, do you agree with me that maybe that's why people have anxiety about what they do, or maybe they don't have confidence because they're not actually following what they really want to do in life? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, that great stuff. And before I answer, I just want to jump back and say, Mike, with the empathy is one of the key elements, and compassion, and then confidence in results to help people get to their goal. And you can't be like loving people. You can't be fake about that. If you don't love people, you probably should be in a tech job, right? Like I can go and hang out with a plumber and laugh and have fun, and I can go to a CEO. But having that empathy is really important. So, but jumping back to your question, Jake, is I always tell people, most of my team, I didn't bring on any big producers, any top producers. I tell people is I want people that have a desire. Just like me, when I got in real estate, I looked at Alan Dom. He was one of the top people in America then. He was the condo specialist. And I looked at him and I said, if Alan Dom can do it, I can do it. And I got that from James B. Marion III, who was I sold vacuum cleaners door to door from 79 to 81, 82. Interest rates were 21%. There were no jobs in this country. Inflation was rampant. The country was falling off the wings. You couldn't get a job. And that's where I learned entrepreneurial. I just want to back up to that, Jake. I just have
please.
Because I've had 3 mentors in my life, believe it or not, only 3 that have impacted my life. My mom first, okay? We're not going to call her mentor, my mom. I'm going to go see her Sunday, And it's funny, my mom's 87. Again, she's great. She's great. But James B. Marion III was my mentor. I graduated high school. I thought, I'm getting a real job. I go to work in the city. So my city job I didn't know it when I went down to get this job at the city. My friend said, I was working in the sewers. So I worked in the sewers for a year for the city of Philadelphia, below the sewers. I mean, I had scum on me all that I would unload for a year. I was proud to do that. And I was the best sewer worker. And I loved working in the sewers. We loaded up a truck. We went out on the shift. That job got laid off in 79 because of the recession. And you couldn't get a job at McDonald's. You could not get a job anywhere. I took this phone call. I made a phone call and I got a job. I got this interview. So I make a phone call. It's a Saturday. Nobody's got jobs. I mean, our country people were losing houses. People were losing their jobs. It was a bad time, 79, 80, 81. I'm just telling you. Worse than worse than that 08, 9, 10, way worse. And I took this job. I took this call and it's a Saturday. I said, Mom, I'm going to a job. I was living at home. So 1 year out of high school. I bailed on college. I did have a scholarship to go to college. I went for like 2 days and I said, I don't know what I want to do. I can't just go 4 years. I don't have the money to pay for this. So I bailed on college. So then I go up to this and the guy takes me in this room. It was in Burlington, New Jersey. I lived in Northeast Philly. I drove up, takes me in this room and he shows me this movie. And this movie is this guy, Chuck Connors. It was the show, The Rifleman. It was this great Western show. It was like a John Wayne type guy back in the day. This is in the 60s when you only had 3, 6, and 10 to watch TV. So everybody watched the same shows, right? So Chuck Connors shows you this movie and he's talking to you and he's showing you, you can have the American dream. He's showing you yachts and hot chicks on yachts and people with houses with tennis courts and airplanes and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, this is what I always dreamed of, like the American dream, like you can have it all. And so at the end of that hour clip, it showed you the 33 things that this vacuum cleaner would do. And guess what? I was already sold. Like if he had just showed me you're going to sell a $644 vacuum cleaner, I would have probably left. But I was hyped on the American dream. So I go to the training class on Monday. They said, you're hired, come to the training class. In the training, there's 40 people. James B. Marion comes in the training class. He says, Kathy's going to teach it. He said, at the end of this week, they'll be lucky if there are 20 of you here. He said, at the end of this month, they'll be lucky if there are 2 of you here. So Mike McCann, always being the underdog, sat in the background and thought, I'll be here. I'm getting the American dream. Like that's my mindset to myself. So same at the end of the week, there were 20 people. By the end of the month, it was just me. I did it for 3.5 years, sold vacuums, ended up opening up my own vacuum franchise. But James B. Marion was like 65. And he used to say, I have more energy in my little finger than most of you have in your whole body, because he had my type of energy, Jake. He was unbelievable. Mm-hmm. But when I met him, his parents escaped from the Holocaust. They raised him. He had to find a way to pay to go to college. He was going to be an attorney. He ends up selling vacuum cleaners. He got his law degree, but he ended up being a multimillionaire and he had a place in Florida, a yacht. But he was a worker. He still worked. He still came in at 8. Every morning he would give us a pep talk. And then we'd grab our $644 vacuum cleaner at 21% interest, and we'd go pound the streets selling vacuums. The next morning, if you didn't have 3 appointments, he'd bring each person up in front of the room and he'd chew you up or he'd tear you down. He'd build you up or he'd tear you down depending on what your day was. So you always wanted to make James B. Marion proud. But he taught me everything. So I'm gonna ramble real quick.
Go ahead.
If you believe, you can achieve, right? I believed I was going to be a millionaire. I said that my whole life. People laughed at me, okay? Never, never, never give up. That's Winston Churchill, but he taught me, never, never, never give up. Can't means won't. He said, McCann, you can't do that? No, that means you won't do it. If he can do it, you can do it. Is he better looking than you? Is he smarter than you? Is he stronger than you? So he gave me that mindset. So he gave me a lot of those mindsets. So Jake, I just wanted to tell you about him. So he was my mentor. When I got in real estate, I didn't know about real estate. So I sold the vacuums 3.5 years. A partner cheated me. And after 3 years, we opened up in Delaware and I came back. It was an older guy and I was too naive. I was making more than my dad, who lived somewhere else, but he was a college professor. Selling vacuum cleaners at 19 and 20, I'm making more than a college professor. Unbelievable. But I wasn't as frugal, I was whatever. I was going out to clubs. I opened my own office. So I let somebody take advantage of me and I bailed on that. I came back and I said, I'm not staying in my neighborhood. And I moved to Center City and I got in the hotel business. So I didn't know so here I am, 22. I don't know what I'm going to do. I get a job at the Hilton. I become the second highest paid in the Hilton doing room service, coffee breaks, catering, but I took on 3 jobs at the Hilton, right? I knew that I wasn't going to do that for my life. In 85, interest rates start to go down. A couple of my friends, 2 of my best friends, their dads both own businesses and they work for their dad. And they said, come on, Mike, we're going to take a class. We're going to start buying real estate. I'm like, guys, I don't work for my dad. Now, my friends were great because they took their dad's business and they didn't suck from it. They took it to the next level. They took it up. They wouldn't have been my friends if they sucked, if they took advantage of people. So I'm like, I can't. My friend says, Michael, shut up. Just come, take a class. I walk into Temple Real Estate Institute, Barbacorns, and I'm like, in about 2 minutes, I'm like, wait, you can make a commission selling houses? Because again, I sold 1 out of every 2.5 people I got into their house with that $650 vacuum cleaner. I made 200 a machine, right? So I was making $700-800 a week, which was insane back in 79, 80, right? So I thought, but you could sell houses? So then I started studying, and then I saw got introduced to Alan Dom, and I saw him, and I said, if he can do it, I can do it. So I've mimicked what he was doing. So looking up and saying to people, or seeing what other people can do, and if they can do it, you can do it. And when I coach people and help people on my team in the office now, all I say is, I just want someone that says, tell me what to do and I'll do it. Because if James B. Marion or Alan Dom told me to go scrub the toilets, I'm scrubbing the freaking toilets. I don't care. We have this red book here in Keller. It says, if you follow this, in 5 years, you can be a millionaire. Jake, if you would have given that to me, I would have followed that book right away. I didn't have that book in real estate. So for me, it took a lot longer to grow. What was your question, Jake? I'm sorry.
Just about, so if I show up in your office and I'm low energy, do I get kicked out? I mean, how do you coach me up? Like, we've all been there, right? We're mismatches for energy.
Yeah.
How does it work in your world if it's off? How do you handle that?
Yeah. I want someone that just says to me, tell me what to do.
Yeah.
That has, again, the key to long-term success is people. Okay, your customers as people, but then as you grow, you can't do it all yourself. So, in 1988, I sold 90 homes by myself, right? So I was working 14-hour days. As I started to hire people, I would hire people that had the same desire as me. That's all I need. I don't need to,
Right.
My one friend I grew up with, he was a genius. He never amounted to success the way that I did because he would get bored with stuff. He didn't have that desire. So desire. And it does help. If you don't, to me, I would have retired a long time ago if I didn't love real estate, right? If you love what you do, you can grow. But I'm only hiring people that just say, tell me what to do. I want to do it. And then they have the core values. The core values are gratitude. The core values are family. And family doesn't just mean a mom and dad and 3 kids. I mean, whatever that family is, our team is family. The proudest thing in my life, Jake, is that I've helped people. Karen, my secretary with me 25 years, I took her out of Kmart, right? She's worth more than $1 million. I got her to buy real estate over time. Like, that's insane. So I have 25 years, 22 years, many people, 20 years, 18 years. They bought me they got there's an album called The Hotel California. Mm-hmm. And there's a song in there, it says, it's such a lovely place, but you can never leave. So they got me that album in a frame, all signed, because that's what we joke is, you come on our team, it's such a lovely place, but you'll never leave. but we do make sure, I have people wanting to come on my team, all great people doing great business, but if they don't align with our culture, and our culture is gratitude, hard work, contribution, I'm smiling. I'm at the mainline office right now. We're growing. I will not recruit anybody that doesn't have a great attitude. Everybody, the 251 people, well, we hired 130 people, all have a great attitude. Honestly, I only want to be around attitude people that want to grow in their life, grow in their business. So yes, low energy. I can't do anything for you. Man, you can have an espresso. I'll give you an espresso. Maybe that helps.
Yeah.
No drugs.
Hey, well, yeah, and I think too, Mike, that like some of the reasons people have, these Sunday nights become tough is because of the relationships at work. And like, clearly you've done an amazing job hand selecting the people that you allow to surround you. But I think that's what leads to a lot of anxiety for a lot of people. They can't control who they're around, or maybe they've selected people that aren't a good fit, but they don't know how to break up. You, though, I'm fortunate enough to know kind of the backstory. Jim has been with you for a long time, and there's many people on your team, but I want to zoom in on Jim Onesti for a moment. He's been with you for a long time. You yourself are one of the top producers. If we strip you away from the whole business, you're still, as an individual, one of the top producers in the world. But if you layer in your team, like how many families will you guys help this year, give or take?
Right. So we sold about 900, and we ran at like 250. And yeah, so that's what we did, which pretty loud. Yeah. Yeah. And that's,
I'm sorry. Well, I want to zoom in on Jim. So Jim is he's your second. Well,
no,
Jim is producing more real estate than you know. He's selling more.
So this is unbelievable. it was like a year or two ago, Dan is talking to somebody and I go over, how you doing? Because that's what I do. When people come into my world, you know, I don't shy off. Hey, how are you? Like, even if I think I should know them, I'm like, hey, I'm Mike, how are you? Like, what's your name again? Or what? So I go up to Dan and Dan says, hey, yeah, this is Mike McCann. He's the second biggest producer in our. I was like, wait, I've been number one for 30 years. Like, so, and I thought, you know what? That was the greatest honor ever.
Yes.
Because that's level 5. That's not you just being the best. People that become the best and then they step over you. That
Right.
is, yeah. So I'm the
So,
second.
so I want to zoom. I want to make sure people understand what we're saying here. You've been the top producer unseated for 30 plus years. You're selling real
In
estate
Philadelphia.
in Philadelphia.
19,
Yeah. Jim has been on your team for how long?
22 years now.
22 years. He's selling more than you now. Conventional wisdom would think, well, Jim's going to go create his own company. Why the heck would Jim want to work with Mike anymore? So, like, and obviously we've unpacked a lot of the reasons why already for the past 42 minutes, but like when you do, like, how would you coach us when people have limiting beliefs around finding their Jim, their empire builder? How do you keep him fired up and excited and now that he's surpassed you, the student has surpassed the teacher, right? Like, so talk us through that.
And that's a great one because I see so many people bring on talented people and then the talented people grow and then they feel they have to leave that person to grow further. Yeah. So I don't, so what I make sure I call it 1 and 1 is 3. Jim hasn't needed me for 15 years. I don't need Jim, but together we don't add up to 2, we add up to 3. And how I do that is hiring right. And that's what I call an attitude of gratitude. So Jim is grateful for me taking him as a 22-year-old that sold water purifiers in Texas. When I found out he sold water purifiers in Texas, I sold vacuums, boom.
Perfect.
And how I got to Jim was his dad was one of the first people I ever did a transaction with in South Philly that actually talked to me and didn't shut me out. Like what? So anyway, so I knew he came from a good family. So hiring people that and then taking care of them. Jake, my golden rule, I give more than I receive. So I when I had nothing, I would never ask anybody for anything. I did have that real pride or false pride, whatever you want to call it. So I give more than I take on anything. Every single person on my team, I give them way more than I get. But as a result, they want to help me and help grow the team. And Jim is an unbelievable human being. And yes, I make a lot of money off Jim. He can make so much more somewhere else, but his career wouldn't be and his opportunities wouldn't be. So ultimately, we are way better together. Some of the things that we're doing, way better together than separate. But if he was a small-minded, self-centered person without gratitude, he would move on. But as the leader, it can't be, Jake, how much money do I need to buy food? How much houses do I need? So what I like to do is I'm grateful for my success. And so I share that success. And that doesn't mean that people think, oh, if you're rich, you got to be mean or you got to be cutthroat. No way. Like so many people are wealthy, are not happy. So when I walk into my office and I have fun, they love me. I'm impactful in their life. I'm impactful in my client's life. And that's why Jim has stayed for so long and everybody else. And if Jim said, Mike, let's do this, I'd be like, I talk to him about it, but okay, man, let's do it. I'm behind you, or whatever that is. I don't always want to be the reason I switched company was because I want to be around people that are smarter than me. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room in collaboration. And Jake, I love bringing in new people because guess what? They have different perspective. And then watching them grow. And that's the reward. So the reward is people that are grateful and you don't control them, like you collaborate. There's many people like that, Jake. It's just it can't just be all about me. Like Jim was always fine with it being the Mike McCann team, and he knew that like up front. and he didn't want to be out in front. Although now he's starting to do more than me on the TikTok thing. He's a TikTok head right now.
He's a TikTok guy.
He was never the front man. He's more humble than me, but he's grown and so much, and he knows like this team's going to be around for decades and decades, and it's going to be his team. You know what I mean? He's pulling into that. And the last thing I want to say is, like, I had this one guy on my team. He came to my old company just to be around me. I wouldn't let him on my team. He was a big speaker throughout the country, and he wanted to get in real estate, wanted to be on my team. I said, yeah, you get in line. There's 40 other people. So he said he made up in his mind he was going to be on my team. And this is what I like. Young guy, smart guy. He was a professional coach, and he traveled throughout the country. He's a British accent. You might know who I'm talking about. Okay. So he came to the other company and he said, here I am. I said, okay, well, and so I helped him out. He wasn't on my team. That year, he did everything I told him to do. So then when I moved to the next company, I thought, you know what? You earned my team. So he's growing. His third year in the business, he said, Mike, I am so grateful that you brought me on this team. I love this family. He said, I want to give 25% of my time back to the team for free for my gratitude. And I said, Ben, I love you, man. And that's great. But you know what? You're too young. I need you to build more wealth. So I'm going to let you give 10% of your time back, not 25, not yet, So I'm going to protect him, but he wants to contribute. So that's the type of attitude that is winning. It doesn't hurt. You know what that will do to Ben? That will give Ben so much more business. I am going to get him so many more clients. I am going to help him so much more because of that willingness to contribute.
And on that note, Mike, we have a few minutes left here. I know we're limited on time. I wanted to ask you about the Bethesda project and give you some time to talk about that. Let our listeners know what that's all about. We'll link to everything in the show notes. So please tell us about your involvement with Bethesda and what exactly that organization is doing.
I appreciate you bringing that up. And when I had nothing, I contributed. And raising my children, I always made sure that we adopted a family on the holidays. We did mission trips. We fixed up houses. We did stuff. We always contributed. I was every Sunday. I had a child who ended up having to go to college for 4 years. So my children always saw that we, have a nice house and we have plenty of food and heat and hot water. So I always contributed to give back because I am grateful. When my kids were at home, I'm an empty nester now, but I would come downstairs. It's a beautiful day. And they'd be eating their breakfast like, oh, come on, Dad. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I just took a hot shower. There's 2 billion people in this world that don't have hot showers. That's how simple. I still keep my mind, which is crazy, right? So Bethesda is something that one of our clients is the executive director, and I met her in 2018, 18 or 19, and they said, do you want to help? And it's been around 40 years. They help about 1,000 people a year. They have a place at 16th and South, 11th and Spruce, on Vine Street and on Broad Street. And I said, well, I can only help you if I believe in you, right? Just like I can only sell if I believe. I can only help you, Mike, if I believe in you. So I went and I visited all of them, and my heart was filled. And so I raised $30,000 or $35,000 that year, just on Facebook, just from Send. So then they said to me, Mike, we want you to be the honorary chairperson and sponsor it and speak down at the Citizens Park. So there's an event at Citizens Park on May 13th. So I committed to raise $75,000 through my friends and family and business associates. And then my wife and I are going to match, every dollar right there. And so it's helping the underprivileged. We as citizens that built any success. And that's why I tell people, if you have $10, just give $10. If you can afford 100, great. 200, great. 500. I have friends giving 5,000. So just giving back, Mike, makes, it shows that gratitude is an attitude type stuff. And it's so they've been around 40 years. And those people that show up there to help the underprivileged people every day, they're not making big dollars. You know how hard that is. So we can at least contribute to make their jobs easier to help the people that need help. But thanks, Mike. It's very, very, very contribution is really is again key to happiness. It really, really is.
I mean, I think just tying it all back to the conversation around energy and the light that shines when you walk into a room, that's why, right? Because you have an attitude of contributing in any way, shape, or form that you can to the world and the world that's in front of you, I guess. So you've more than answered that question, Mike, and we appreciate your time so much. Jake, I think it's obvious here that we have to have Mike back for a live Sunday night session in the future.
Push-up contests. Yeah.
Push-up contest.
I'm in.
Yep.
I'm in.
Yep.
I'm in for that.
Yeah.
Mike, anything you want to say before we wrap up?
No, sorry, I didn't give you a chance. I rambled too much. I only gave you guys like 3 or 4 questions. I apologize.
Let's give him the billboard question, Mike. Let's give him the billboard.
Okay, yeah. So I'll frame the question like the last note like this, Mike. If you could put anything on a billboard, any saying or phrase on a billboard, what would it be?
If you believe you can achieve, as long as you never, never, never give up. And honestly, you put that on your fridge, you put that on your mirror, you read that every day. And I did that through my kids growing up, like any goals that I had. It will happen. It sounds corny. And especially when you're young, it's like, I remember people saying that stuff to me. Like, yeah, it's easy for you to say you're already rich or you already have this or that. But I'm telling you, if you believe that every day, and you do got to me, you got to be a good person, man. And a good person doesn't mean like being taken advantage of, because I have a Philly too. I mean, you take advantage of me, you're going down. Like I'm tough when I have to be. So I don't mean a wuss, but honestly, you just, and you really, if that's what you really want. So you hear that saying, you have to watch what you ask for because you might get it. So you really got to know that's what you want. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't find real estate till I was 28 years old. So again, so thank goodness that I found real estate at 28 years old. And people say, well, my dad taught until he was 86 years old. He died from COVID a year and a half ago. But he was still, I reconciliated with my dad like when I was 22, like he got sober. He ended up having a great life. He had a short period of window, where he had issues, and that's why the divorce happened. But my dad retired at 64, 65. He retired he was at the LaSalle. I was a French professor. And he still teaching at 86, 2 days a week, maybe 3 or 4 classes a week. And people would say, Dr. McCann, why don't you retire? He's there. The moment that I'm done teaching those classes, those young people come up to me, Dr. McCann, how about this, Dr. Lee? He said, the moment I don't have that, I'll stop showing up. I love teaching. That's how I am with real estate. Like, I tell people, I wish I was selfish. I'd be on an island somewhere, but I don't wish I was selfish. But meaning like, I work harder than anybody still today because I love helping people. So, but Mike, really, honestly, you just got to focus on what you want to be. And you have to surrender with the right people and not worry about every little thing. Like, what's the big picture, and collaborate. Nothing better than I walk in and I smack you 5, I hug you. I love to have fun. And so you got to have fun. You got to love people, and you got to be the best. And I've never asked for anything. That's the other thing. Like, honestly, I would never say, can you do this? I'll contribute, but I just never asked. So I just tunnel focused. And that was one good trait. It's funny. I'm rambling too much, but my daughter had some issues and little late in high school. And so we're going to a therapist. And the person says, well, you have ADD or AHD, whatever it is. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, oh, you do. Just they didn't diagnose it back in your day, but you learned how to focus that in a positive world. Most people don't, so.
There it is.
So whatever.
There it is. Yeah, we'll definitely have you back on, Mike. We'll do a live push-up contest on a Sunday night. People can ask you questions. It'll be a blast.
Okay, so when my wife goes away for her tennis weekend or something like that, I'll text you. So stay in touch, gentlemen.
I gotta tell you, I actually think we should interview her. I want to get her side of this
There we
story.
go.
That's what I want to know. We'll see if we get you both on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, guys.
Enjoy the rest
Thank
of your
you,
day.
Mike.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Awesome.
All right.
Appreciate you, bud.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Love him.
Wow.
Love him.
Exactly what I expected.
He's the best.
Yeah.
He's the best. There's nothing more to say. It's the real deal. He should write a book. It's just like, it's the one-on-one. Like, look at the track record. You know, selling vacuums, shoveling the sewers, committed all in, just believes, doesn't worry about the noise. Just the lessons are just innumerable. It's amazing. It's amazing.
All the untold stories too, like he doesn't talk about, he talks about adversity like the same way he talks about success.
Mhm.
Yeah. And not everybody, it doesn't land with everybody, and not everybody can look at it that way. So
Sure.
I'd love to hear his story told by a third party, through a different lens. To your point of like, I mean, yeah, book would come through in his voice, but like if there was like a TV show or a movie that, you actually could look into it from a different way.
Yeah, like I want to know when he comes home. Does he ever come home upset? What's the conversation like with his wife? What's the, what's got his goose in the past that really caused him to lose sleep? Yeah, it's amazing. He's amazing. We're so fortunate. We're so fortunate to pass by someone like that in our industry. Like just the fact that he just happens to be in our market and we get to see it and see what's possible. It's unbelievable.
To pass by somebody that in life, it's not even.
I know.
I mean,
he talked about the weekend with a pro.
Right.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, let him just tell stories about a fireplace till 6 a.m.
Oh, he would be great there. Can you imagine? He would be.
And he would love the physical part too. That's the unifying connection is like professional dominance and physical dominance is the cross section of human that is like, yep, I want to hike a 14er with him just to hear his stories,
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for setting that up. It was epic.
Yeah. You got to jump.
I do. Yes, I do.
All right, buddy.
I'll call you later.
Catch up with you soon. Yep.
Yep.
See you.